Your task in this section is to write a function called flatten, which, given an array like this, it should return a flattened version of that array. This is actually a very popular interview question, and so it's beneficial to review this question. So we have an array declared up here, comprising of numbers or arrays with numbers, with varying number of nested levels. And what we want to do is flatten this array. First, let's write a function called flatten that takes in the array. First, we know that we do want to return an array at the end, so let's just declare an array. Let it equal to some array and return it in the end. Let's name it flattened array actually. Cool. So we know we want to return a flattened array. A very clean way to solve this problem is by using our reduce function that we have in our ES6. So I'm going to use this reduce function and it will take in a function as a parameter, which takes in an accumulator and a second value, which is our current item in our array. It will look something like this. So our starting accumulator in this case will be an empty array, because that is what we want to return at the end of our program with all our values in it. One point to note is that you should feel free to write any pseudocode or talk out loud at any point of what you're thinking in the interview. Interviewers love to hear your thought process, so just let the interviewer know what you're thinking and it will give you points. So moving on. It's time to figure out our base case and our recursive call. So let's just label it out. So let's look at our base case. If we look at our current array, we can tell there is either a number or an array. So our base case is if we have a number, we have what we want and we want to just push this item into our return array simply. So let's write this out. Now let's figure out our recursive call. So the recursive call should be, if we have an array then, we have to do some more work. We have to call the flatten name into our result. So if it's an array, we need to flatten the item. And concat it with our current result. Alright, great. We have our pseudocode, and we know what our base case and recursive call looks like. Let's code it out. I'm going to comment this code out just so we have some more space. So we can use our isArrayNative function in JavaScript to check if an item is an array or not. So we can do something like this. So what we can do is we can check if our current item is an array. And if it is, remember we said we would do more work and we need to actually concat our results and keep calling our flatten function. So we can do something like this. Else we have our base case, which means if it's not an array, it's a number. And so what we want to do is just push simply the item we have onto our accumulator array. And now all we simply have to do at the end is return our accumulator. Let's try and log this out and see what we get. Okay, we only get a 0. So what's wrong here? Well, recall when we check when the item is an array, we concatenated our value, but we did not actually assign our new concatenated flattened value to our accumulator. So all we need to do is this. We have to save it to our accumulator to get the entire result back. Let's run the code again. Great, so now we have our flattened array. This is definitely one way you can solve this in a very clean way. One point to note is that we don't even need our flattened array variable anymore. We can just remove it and return this whole code by itself. Let's run the code again. Great. This is a very repetitive and highly asked question. I have seen this question asked many times myself as well. So I would definitely prepare this one before you go to your next interview. Great. That's it for this lesson. See you next time.